All right, rock and roll fans, welcome to a brand new segment I'm starting up here. This is basically our CD review channel here, and that's what this episode entails. Where it's going to be called Pick Five. So we're going to pick five current CDs that have just recently come out. We're going to give a quick rundown on how we feel about them and how they rank with us, and then we'll take those five CDs and kind of put them in order of how we feel you should actually go out and buy them. Kind of like a little ranking between the rankings here. So, without further ado, let's get underway. The first album is going to be from a band that's in England right now, and that's going to be Issa, who just recently released their brand new album, Another World, which came out on June 7th here on Frontier Records. And yeah, this album is really amazing here. I was very surprised at the catchiness of the songs, the overall vocal performance, the music is just fabulous. Kind of takes you back to that 80s period. It's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of some good old melodic rock from the 80s. Definitely. I've had this album come out back then. I feel that it would have done very, very well on the charts back in the day. Um, hard to say what's going to happen this time, but it is definitely an album that I highly recommend. And the standout track on it would be The Road to Victory, which there is a video for that song. You can check that out on YouTube. And then as far as the rest of the album is concerned, I would say the other two recommended tracks I'll give you a heads up on are Another World and All These Wild Nights. Definitely a great album to check out if you like I said, the melodic rock there. A lot of keyboard and catchiness. Songs are very catchy, and that's on top of the great vocal performance from Issa. So that is a quick rundown on her new album that just came out. And the next album we're going to take a peek at here is going to come from the former Skid Row frontman, none other than Mr. Sebastian Bach himself. The recent album Child Within a Man, which came out on May 10th, so goes back a month, a little bit, almost a month and a half here, but comes out on Reigning Phoenix Music. I reached number 41 in Japan, so the Japan fans definitely spoke, and they love their Sebastian Bach. Did not chart here, unfortunately. Standout track to Live Again, which is actually the last song on the album. And another recommended track I would recommend is What Do I Got to Lose, which is definitely right away, as soon as you hear it, it definitely takes you back to gives you that great vocal performance by Sebastian. I would have to say, though, other than those two songs, I'm not really too impressed by the album, though, overall. He had a couple other solo albums that came out, and it's been a while since he had one out, actually. Um, but those ones that came out prior to seemed to have a lot more. The songs were just better, stronger. I don't know. Took him a while to make an album, and I just feel for all the time that it took for it to finally come out, just doesn't resonate with me. And I love Sebastian Bach. I love his other solo albums. I love his Skid Row stuff, except for Subhuman Race. But I don't know. Just something about this album just doesn't really hit home like I was hoping for. But definitely, though, recommend To Live Again. I would say if he had at least six more songs like that one on here, I'd be talking differently about it. So, Sebastian Bach, Child Within a Man. Um, the next album we're going to take a peek at is going to come from Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam. And that's none other than Dark Matter, which was released on April the 19th on Monkey Wrench Republic Records. Reached number 5 on the charts. And yeah, this one definitely, you know, a lot to offer here. This is basically their first album since Gigaton, which came out in 2020. Um, so basically within the last 10 years, they've really only made, well, Lightning Bolt came out in 2013, Gigaton 2020, and then Dark Matter 2024. So a lot of downtime between releases, especially for Pearl Jam. They were known for whipping them out, once every 2 to 3 years, and now we're just kind of getting further and further behind on coming out with these albums of theirs. But make no mistake about it, this album is far from, they didn't mail in the performance or anything like that. This is a solid album. Scared of Fear, first track on the album, definitely helps set the tone. Wreckage, Dark Matter, those are two of the recommended tracks in addition to that one. I would say the one that I feel is Setting Sun. That's the one that they feel strongly about too, because that's one of the ones that was near the end of the set, um, when they were playing it live on the few dates they did in support of it up to this point. Uh, Something Special is another good one. Waiting for Stevie. So there's definitely a lot to digest. 11 tracks in all. Um, just another solid performance from Pearl Jam. What else can you say? It seems like they're always putting out such quality material. It's always good when a new Pearl Jam album comes out, no matter what. And obviously, this one was actually produced by Andrew Watt, who actually produced Eddie's solo album prior to Earthling. Um, so they enlisted him to produce this one, which is the 12th studio album from Pearl Jam. And it goes back to the recording sessions first started back in February of 2021. So it just took a while to come out, but they definitely finally got it together and released the album. Another, what else can you say? Another classic Pearl Jam album for sure. All right, so there's two more albums we're going to throw out here that recently came out, and our next one is going to come from the band from Atlanta, Georgia here, Collective Soul. From Here to Eternity, which is a double album. They wanted to do this double album thing couple of years back, but the pandemic kind of put a damper on that idea. So they just basically released two albums singularly. Um, so From Here to Eternity starts off in a amazing way right off the bat. You get Mother's Love, which brings you that classic Collective Soul guitar riff, and Bluer Than So Blue, a little bit different of a song for Collective Soul that definitely stood out to me. I actually seen them in concert this past week, and I thought that was one of the better of the new songs in concert, and it really went over pretty good. They played those two songs actually, Mother's Love, Bluer Than So Blue, which were the first two tracks on the album. They put them right in the first two slots, right in their set list. I mean, what better way to break in new music and prevent people from taking that bathroom break that a lot of people like to kind of do when new music comes on. I think that was ingenious to start it off with two new songs because that still helps set the tone for the concert. And no one's going to go to the bathroom in the first couple songs, that's for sure. So worked out perfect there. That came out on May 17th on Fuzzy Flex Records. And to me, though, the standout track of this album by a mile. I just love this song. Not the Same. Definitely worth checking out. They played it in concert when I seen them this past week in Erie, Pennsylvania. It was a full headline set. Right now they are on tour with Hootie and the Blowfish and Edwin McCain. So check that tour out if you happen to see it nearby. We were just lucky enough to be getting a headline set where, um, we got fortunate enough where they put in a handful of new songs in the set, which were great to hear live for sure. A couple other standout tracks I would recommend from this album: Let It Flow, which was one of the other ones they played. Matter of Fact, Be the One. Can go on and on here. Bring on the Day, No Man's Land. The last two songs that close out the album are definitely worth checking out. The two, Therapy, Over and Out. Um, they kind of hide right at the end of the album. It's a lot to digest, 20 tracks. If you're playing a CD, it's a one disc package. But the album is definitely considered a double album. And yeah, I would definitely recommend getting this album if you are a Collective Soul fan, because you definitely will not be disappointed. We're going to be doing a review on the catalog of Collective Soul coming up down the road here, so stay tuned for that. And that just about sums up here to eternity. And I got one more album I'm going to throw out your way to let you know about. And never thought I'd be talking about a Bon Jovi album ever again, but here we go. Bon Jovi Forever. It just came out on June 7th. Island Records, of course, the home of Bon Jovi for all these years. Peaked at number 5. And man, this album really caught me by surprise. I did not expect this album to be this good, with all the things that's been going on with John Bon Jovi and his vocals. And, obviously he had surgery since before this album came out and before it was recorded. And yeah, I was really surprised how strong the songs were. I mean, I don't really see much on the way of throwaways on this album. It kicks off in really good style with Legendary, We Made It Look Easy, Living Proof, and then it gets even better. Waves, definitely a standout for me. That I think that's going to be the standout track, Waves. And if I had to pick a close second, would be Seeds. These two songs really, they're right next to each other on the album, and they really just hit home on this whole album. I mean, there's not, like I said, the only two duds I would consider would be duds would be Walls of Jericho and Living in Paradise. But My First Guitar, another great song. It ends with Hollow Man. Just a lot of really good songs on here, and I was really taken and really surprised. And then when we just did a Bon Jovi album ranking, so stay tuned for that. That will be airing within the next couple days, right behind this album ranking, the Pick 5 episode here. So the Bon Jovi Forever, definitely highly recommended. And what we'll do is every few months we'll do the same thing. We'll wait till about 5 good albums come out, or 5 artists that we are very familiar with, or whatever the case may be, and we'll throw them out there and give you our quick opinion on them. And then from there, now this is the part where I'm gonna rank them. So this is probably where we're gonna probably think people are going, oh my God. But here we go. So if we're gonna rank these albums from worst to best. So sad to say, but Sebastian Bach is bringing up the rear on this round of albums. And Pearl Jam is bringing up the next one. You know, Not saying that these are bad albums, but we're ranking them from worst to best. So we recommend getting Bach last, get Pearl Jam second last. um, so the middle album here is going to be Bon Jovi. We recommend that one, and slot number 3. And then the number 2 album that we highly recommend is the Collective Soul double album. And believe it or not, Issa is going to come home as the number 1 album out of these 5 albums. Definitely, we highly recommend you to pick up this album. And by the way, if you listen to our channel on a regular basis, I just did an interview with Issa as part of our In Conversation series. So we just recently did an interview with her where she'll discusses the new album, and we go over a bunch of things about the band. So feel free to check that out. And so there we have it. So the rundown of what we recommend to our people here: Issa number 1, Collective Soul number 2, Bon Jovi Forever number 3, Pearl Jam Dark Matter number 4, and Sebastian Bach Child Within a Man number 5. So check out those 5 albums. Also, when you get to our comments here after watching this quick video, leave your take on these albums, whether you heard them all or even if you only like one of them, whatever the case may be. Let us know your take on them. And we always want to hear what you think. It's always good to get other opinions, because sometimes that makes us listen to these albums a little bit more if somebody else is saying, hey, what are you talking about? This album is great. So sometimes we see the error of our ways, and we go back and listen again and, give it a little bit more time. Believe it or not, Queensryche Operation Mindcrime, one of my favorite albums of all time, probably my top five without a doubt. Took a while to warm up to that one. Sometimes it's just a matter of giving it a really good, solid few listens before you make a rash decision. Now, these albums, I did listen to them all at least five times, which is known as the Langerman method. So we got a full five listens on each one, if not more, on some of these other ones. And so we got a solid ranking here in my estimation. So signing off from the Little House, Joseph Sudo, Rock Show Critique. Stay tuned for much more.